Hi everybody, welcome today. We're starting a new series with this episode, and this will be about playing as a soloist. Now, I have not spent most of my career as a soloist, and most trumpet players have not as well. It's a difficult thing to do on trumpet for many reasons, but it's something that we all have to be able to do, is to play soloistically. Whether we're playing in a group, sometimes we have a solo, sometimes we have the lead voice, we have to know how to lead. So I'm just going to go ahead and play number 1 from a book called Preparatory Melodies to Solo Work by Pottag, who was a horn player with the great Chicago Symphony Orchestra many years ago. And this book is, I really love this book because it has simple things that are very difficult to play well. So it challenges the qualities of our playing. And the very traditional melodies, they're very short, as you'll see. This one is only 2 lines long. So I'm going to play through, and then I'll make a few suggestions for you, things for you to try, things for you to notice as you're working. So you see how concise, succinct that is? Very brief. And that gives us a great possibility, a great chance to work on all the details that really make the music come alive. Now, I'll be talking about the same elements, and I want you to try and develop the ability to recognize these things with your ears and then to emulate them. That's the whole point. Now, right at the beginning, you may notice that all I'm doing is playing a C major scale. And that's one of those simple things. Can I play a C major scale? So there's so much that can be tasted in there. The pitch, the qualities of the sound, the qualities of the articulation, the sense of direction and connection between the notes, the line, the phrase. And these are the big ingredients. When you're a soloist, you have to decide exactly what you want to do with those things, because everybody else is depending on your decision. It's very much like being a conductor. And I'm going to make a very important suggestion to you. Something that I do quite a bit, and it's very helpful to me. I hope it'll be helpful to you too. I conduct it. Now, you don't have to be a good conductor. All you're trying to do is move and let your movement, the movement of your hand or hands, right, express the music. It's something you have to let happen. You're letting the imagination, what's kind of in your heart, in your mind, come out through your hands. Now, this is what a good conductor does. I played with some conductors that could not speak English, and they didn't need to, because they showed us everything that we needed to know just through their facial expression, their body language, and the movement of their hands. So, if I conducted this for you, if you're going to play it, let's say I just give you a single upbeat. See, if you were thinking the music with me, see, I was thinking music loudly, in my mind. And then that's the impetus for letting this come out. It's a great starting point for practice. Great starting point for practice. Now there's thousands of details that you can be mindful of, and that gets a little bit overwhelming. But if you have the basic sense of the pace and the sense of direction, you're not playing vertically, but you're playing a musical line. I've been teaching for a long time, and I think this will be my 34th or 35th year at the Boston Conservatory. And in all the years that I've been there, we have the students play two jury exams, playing exams at the end of every semester. So they play 2 a year, even during their recital years. And that gives us a chance to hear a lot from these players. Everybody has to pass a scale requirement. And of course, we want to know if they just simply have the motor skills to play all their scales, so they can hear and they can distinguish between the different forms of minor and so forth. At Berkeley, the scale requirement is even more stringent because a lot of those players are training to be commercial or jazz players, and they have a wide variety of modes and various forms of scales that they play. The Boston Conservatory is just major or minor scales. In all that time, there's only been one person that I've heard that played the scales as if they were music. That's what I challenge you to do. So when you play your exercises, play music. What makes it sound like music? It's going someplace. That's the main thing. It's moving forward. It's making a shape. It's making a shape. So when you play up the scale, if you want to get really literal about it, at the beginning of this piece, it says piano. And as I've mentioned before, that's a big problem for a lot of people. Well, that's really soft, but nobody wants to hear that. Because even with the microphone here just a couple of feet away from my bell, that's just, you could tell the sound is kind of weak. So the main thing when you're working on these dynamic changes and on the natural vocal direction that a scale will have, for example, I'm not thinking about getting louder and softer. I'm just following the natural resonant possibility of my body, and that's what you want to emulate when you're playing a wind instrument. Okay, there's so many things to work on. All these tunes are in different styles. I want to point out something very important to you, and then I'll go ahead and try it again, because I want you to listen. And it's an exercise in noticing things. There's a very important article that I read a while ago about a very famous teacher, and who was at MIT, I believe. And the way he taught science, he taught zoology. The way he taught was to train his students to see, to observe. And it's a wonderful technique. That's exactly what we need to do. I heard Mark Gould say one time, you don't need to go to school, you just listen. Just listen and copy. You know, steal everything you can. And I agree with that. Now, not everybody has that ability, and of course I strongly recommend that you take advice from your teachers and find the best teachers you can. But it really comes down to you being able to listen. Let me go ahead and play this again. Okay, so when you do something like this, record yourself, listen back, and take notes. Notice the things that you like, the things that are working, the things that you would pay to listen to. That gives you a really good idea. And if you pay somebody to stop playing, maybe you need to look more closely at your playing to see what's going on. This is all about being attentive to what's actually coming out of your mind and heart and what's actually coming out of the bell of the instrument. So that's what we're going to be working on in this. The examples are short, but they're challenging. And so I challenge you to continue on through this book with me, and let's see what we can learn, how we can improve our playing. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you later on. Bye-bye.